Hello and welcome to the Shooting Outdoors channel, proudly supported by FMJ Gun Shop Dunchurch. Today it's JSB Exact Jumbo RS Diablo pellets in .22. I know, another 2.2. No, I haven't sold up my 177. It's simply that the show supporters, FMJ Gun Shop, they gave me a stack of pellets to go through and put through the paces, so hence why we're doing a lot of 2.2 reviews over the next few months. So, for your money, you get 500 carefully selected 13.43 grain 2.2 or 5.5mm JSB pellets made over in the Czech Republic. These come in the usual JSB push fit tin, which works, but I do prefer the screw on lids. On the back of the tin, solitary yellow sticker with a code and actual pellet diameter, which is apparently 5.52mm, which we shall see. Inside the tin is a really thick makeup pad, which will keep the missus going for about a year. It's more like a mattress, isn't it? It's huge. Pellets, they're dullish, and there's bits of coating in the other makeup pad. So you get two in this tin. That'll keep her happy. Mother's Day coming early. So dull, suggesting that they're soft lead. We've got several that are out around on the skirts there, you can see. This is maybe a cause for concern as you get to the bottom of the tin. I'd be worried about that. So just bear that in mind, that the skirt on these is very thin. In fact, there's a few here that are really, really bad. So I'll tell you what, let's just look at them more closely at this point. Now, at the end of this section, I kind of researched after I'd written this review. So there's a certain point there which I'll just go, and then you can work it out for yourself. But I was actually quite impressed with JSB for this. So the section pellet here that you see, it just shows that how much weight has been stripped out of the RS to get them down to the 13.43 grain, and as a result the compromise is the thin walled skirt. And this is very different method to the Falcon Accuracy Pluses, which we covered a while back, which have a much thicker skirt but a banded waist. It's also quite a short pellet, the RS, in order to get that weight down, about 1mm shorter than the Daystate Rangemaster Sovs and the RWS Superfields. Now, for me, these are classic motor racing methods for weight reduction. Just strip it back and shrink it as far as you can go. Now, if you go to the JSB, the RS webpage, the JSB webpage, they do actually say on there that there is a connection to the motorsports world, as the name RS generally are lighter, more powerful models than regular ones. So I think I pretty much second guessed what they were doing before I actually went and researched it. So other than that though, they're a fairly normal looking aerodome. The head radius is flatter at 2.8mm than the Falcon's 2.71mm. It's actually just shy of the Daystate's, which is 2.79mm. And the head, well, that's something we're going to come back to in delivery. Deformation, they do compress quite a bit when they hit their target. The head doesn't pull around the sides like I'd expect, so it's not going to grab that much meat and move it around. The skirt compresses a lot more than what I've seen out of other pellets. Now this isn't just compressed air either, forming the shape of the pellet, because there's no rifling marks on there to say it's actually sealed properly, which is a bit of a worry actually. I never picked up on that, but hey ho. Quality, well, this is the last part of the trial that I do in the preparation work for these reviews. As it's not much fun measuring pellets and rather sad, it's where I really start to get an idea for what I'm going to say in these reviews, start mulling over how I'm going to put it over to you. And these pellets, they had me actually quite excited, because if you look at the 32p sample, you'll see that they are quite competitive on the spread, and the only area that really hurts them is the weight at a 0.4 grain spread, which is close enough to half a grain really, isn't it? You're not that far off it. So we can start to assume then at this point that we're going to get tall groups. Now I can reveal that the skirt length varies the least against all the .22 pellets that we've trialled, which is great, if only they weren't deformed. This means then that you get a length overall of 6.81mm, these are the means. The head diameter is supposed to be 5.52, but we're coming out at 5.49, which is well short of that quoted 5.52 in my opinion. And this was really felt on the Remy AR1 as they just fell into the breach until the skirt engaged. Now the skirt length itself was 2.88mm and the overall weight came in at 13.41 grains, so lighter than advertised, but only just, which is what I'm going to touch on in delivery. So adding the spreads together for the quality score, we're talking 0.63, and it's that weight variation that hurts it the most. Again, looking back over the data that I've done of all the reviews to date, it seems that JSB find it really hard to control weight. There's only really RWS out of all the pellet manufacturers, in honesty, that seem to have a real understanding of that variable to date. But that could just be a fluke. Until we get more RWS in, we won't know for sure. Cost? Well, I got these kindly given by the sponsor, FMJ Gun Shop Dunchurch. So it's 2 web searches, as always, and the first 2 out the Google list, but as if I were in a shop buying them. So no delivery charges, no web shops only, and the receipted price is what you would pay at FMJ Gun Shop. So Countryway Gun Shop, they came in at $9.35. Countryfieldsports.co.uk, they came in at 13.45, and fmj.co, you'll be looking at $12.99. This gives you then a mean cost of £11.93, which in a current climate where resources cost a little bit more, it's okay. So delivery, are they or are they not arse kickers? Get it? RS kickers, arse kickers? It's late in the day. The mean of the 25-yard 10-shot groups is 14.6mm, which is acceptable. The groups are quite tall as expected for that level of weight variation. Skirt damage has caused quite a few flyers, widening out the groups. Long range indication from a 5-shot group is 40 yards, which again is quite acceptable. What we're looking for in these long range tests is how much spread you're going to get. So if you're taking a 40 yard shot, what's the chance that you're going to miss? If you miss all 5 shots, you're going to have a bad pellet. If you get them all within an inch, you're looking at a decent pellet. All it is just a matter of how close them 5 group, because you're not going to shoot 10 shots, you're going to shoot 1 or 2, and that's what we're looking for over that range. How many flyers are you likely to get? In truth, I don't think the RM8 got on that well with these pellets straight out the tin, but as I mentioned in quality, there's something else you can gain from trusting the consistency of the RS's dimensions. If you line the pellets up and look for ones with bloaty heads, these are generally the heavier rogue pellets. When you look back at the data, they tie in with those rogue pellets. I also recommend you get a seating prod just to reshape the damaged skirts on the ones that you do keep. Now with this done, you should see these pellets start to excel in group sizes. Now if you don't believe me, these are 10-shot groups done with a Remy AR1 for a trajectory map, using reworked and more specially selected pellets. Now that's supposedly a £150 spring rifle across 35 yards. I mean, I know different, and if you read the reviews you'll know that my Remy AR1 is no normal Remy Express. But I have to say, it's absolutely adored these RSs out to 35 yards. Even when they weren't specially selected, it still got on with them really well. Yes, they don't hold that well past 35 yards, but this Remy isn't choked, and the wind was a little bit of a factor, but we're only talking sort of 5 mile per hour headwinds. It's still not bad, is it? And if it had been that at 40 yards, I'd have been all over these without a doubt for my HFT for this rifle, because they really did get on well with it. Scores then. So RS kicking, you see, yeah, RS kicking off with the cost. I'll just give it a rest with that. With a mean score of £11.49, it scores a 2. Quantity 500, scores a 3. Quality 0.63, therefore scoring a 3 there. Delivery 14.6, and it really scrapes that 3 in the RM8. Now had it been the Remy that I used for these reviews, it would have been a 4 all day long. That's the difference with this pellet, and we'll go into that into the summary. But I can't use the 4, I can't use the Remington scores because it won't be fair to all the other pellets. You're just picking a rifle then that really likes these pellets. Anyway, final score is 54, which means that we'll go to the group sizing, which places it 5th under the day states, and it nudges the Virak F&Ts down a place into 6th. Summary, well, the score is hardly surprising really, because I don't think that these pellets are much of a PCP pellet. They do seem to work that much better with springers, But saying that, the PCP does get that bit more range for them, but that is more than likely down to it having a choked barrel. They do have fantastic speed, and it's a difference that you don't need a chrono for. You can actually hear them impact that much sooner. The lightweight also flattens out the trajectory. I mean, I was aiming to set this rifle up the Remy on using a mil-dot hover and a mil-dot under to get me to 40 yards, which is why it looks quite loopy. But if I'd have gone down to 27, it would have just been so flat. You'd be looking at heavyweight 177 sort of territory, I think anyway. But like I said, the speed's there for takedown. Even if they're a bit lighter, it's still going to go and drop a quarry at 30 yards. And with both rifles that I have, I'd be happy to use them in that. I would just have to select them carefully. So I think that these are going to be good in the Remy for competition. The only thing is past 35 yards, I don't think I've got much chance of hitting anything. For now though, I'm going to stick with my day states in that respect, or the Falcons, because they just held that little bit better in both the 2.2s. It's that thin skirt that worries me, and there's just too many misshaped ones that need fettling before you use them, which is a shame really, because you know, I really like these pellets, and I don't know if that's because I'm a bit of a motorsports geek. You know, motorsports runs in my DNA, so I'm always getting the cars smaller, lighter, faster, and I think that's why I kind of resonance. And once I read it on the internet that's what JSB were going for with these pellets, you know, that whole strip it back, the same ethos as that I use, I kind of fell in love with them. But yeah, in the PCP, there's no competition for the day state really, because I've got that bit more range. In the Remy though, the thing is, if I spend £13, well, say £13, if I spend at my shop £12.99 on pellets, do I really want to be tinkering on with them? No. It's like if you buy a car for 20 grand, you don't want to be looking under the bonnet, make sure that they did their job right. You don't want to have to tidy it up after them. So that's kind of the downside of these pellets. The high maintenance pellets, I think, is how I'm going to leave that. Anyway, as always, feel free to comment. If you do feel the need to hit the dislike button, then just give us an idea of what you don't like about this in the comments. You know, umming and ahhing, yeah, okay, we're trying to improve on that. But if it's something that we can fix, we'll happily go ahead and try and fix it for you. We just welcome constructive feedback, just not personal insults. We have a webpage running now, www.shootingoutdoors.co.uk. There's a link to all our social media on there. It's almost like a centre point. You go to that website, you can get us on just about any platform you want from there, links straight through. Check out our sponsors site, www.fmj.co, where you can buy these pellets, especially if you live near Rugby, Warwickshire, Northamptonshire, even Derbyshire, and you just pass in, drop through, have a chat with them. Great guys. As always, stay safe, shoot straight, see you next time. Goodbye.